everybody, how are you? Welcome. I'm super glad that you are here. This is Tuesday Tips. And I have taken January off, so I'm really happy to be back. Hello, my name is Sarah Turino. I'm the CEO and founder of the Whole Woman Wellness Formula. Really glad that you are here today. If you're new to me, hello. We are talking self-care because February is Love on Yourself month, and it is where we start digging into self-care as a wellness tool. So welcome. I'm really glad that you are here. Today we're talking about what self-care is and what self-care isn't. And the reason why I'm bringing this forward is because a lot of times people think that self-care is this super heavy loaded thing that requires a lot of effort, and that it's expensive, and that it's something to feel bad about, and it may there may be a tinge of feeling like it's self-indulgent. So I really want to kind of reframe self-care and talk about ways to kind of open up to it, because it is an incredibly powerful tool, which we're going to dig into more as the month goes on. So first, let's talk about what self-care is. Self-care is deeply personal, and you get to choose what it is, which I think almost makes it harder sometimes to access for people, because there's a little bit of, what should I do? What you've never explored, maybe what feels really good for you. And to say that it's yours is almost too spacious. And so I think that's why there's a quadrillion-dollar industry that makes money off of telling people what self-care is, because people sometimes aren't quite sure what self-care looks like for themselves. So first things first, self-care is deeply personal. It is self-defined. You get to decide what self-care looks like for you. Self-care supports your resilience. It should never take away from you. It should only fill you, which we're going to talk about in what it isn't in a second. Self-care helps you to do life from a fuller well. It helps you to do life easier because your well is fuller. Self-care helps you connect with yourself. And why that's important is once you kind of start to connect with yourself in interesting ways, you can start to know things. You can start to sense things. You can start to feel things. So self-care is a way in. What self-care isn't? Well, self-care isn't what anybody tells you self-care should be. First of all, I hate shoulds. Stop shoulding all over yourself. Not a fan. But often this industry, the self-care industry, is like, oh, it's, bubble baths and expensive appointments. And I just want you to start to really get critical of that branding and that messaging that you're getting about what self-care is. Because what ends up happening is you feel like it's unattainable and therefore you don't do it. So again, it's yours. You get to decide what works for you. So a couple of things to bring forward. I did a survey about 4 years ago, and I asked my people, what are the 3 things that stop you from giving yourself care? And the 3 things that came forward were, it's expensive. I'm guilty. I feel guilty. It feels self-indulgent. And the third thing was, I can't remember. My brain just locked up. Doesn't matter. I really want to talk about the first one. And the first one is expensive. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, is that if you can get yourself around the idea that self-care, that's what someone's told you self-care is. So you automatically associate self-care with massages, with pedicures, with facials, with girls' trips, with whatever in your mind it is. Well, sure, those things are lovely. But those things, once, twice a year, maybe? Everybody's different, but then you're only giving yourself self-care every so often. Well, that's a bummer, right? So instead, what simple acts can you afford yourself and give yourself throughout the day that don't cost anything, that aren't time consuming, that don't make you feel guilty. There's the third one, time consuming. So self-care isn't, or it shouldn't be, expensive, time consuming, or stressful. Let's talk about the stressful. I think there's a lot of load associated with self-care for a lot of reasons. And one of them, I think there's this weird feeling like it's heavy loaded. It's loaded with stuff. And it doesn't have to be. And so I had someone ask me a couple months ago for a podcast. They were like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I do it all day, every day. I just weave it in throughout my day. I deload it. I make it not a thing so that everything's self-care. Give you an example. Literally around me, I have examples for you. First of all, I wear loose pants. No, but I do. I love wearing comfy clothes. That's self-care. Cup of tea. Okay, corny, but I do it. Every time I work, I have a candle. 2 liters of water every day. Those are mine. These are what supports me. Other things. I like to crinkle parchment paper. I like alone time. I like to be outside. I like a deep breath, and especially when I'm feeling kind of tweaked. I love to breathe. These are simple things, right? That you can do to give yourself some care that don't cost anything, that aren't time consuming, and that are not appointment based, and that are not expensive. The thing is we don't really know because we've never given ourselves permission to explore what reframing self-care looks like for you, because it's going to be different for you. And that, my friends, is what February Love on Yourself Month is all about. It's an exploration. It's someone saying to you, hey, you're worthy to sort this out. You're worthy to figure this out. It's important that you figure this out because self-care, when done consistently, plants a lot of flowers in your wellness garden. So I invite you to join me. If you have not joined yet, please click the link in my pinned post on Facebook, in my bio in Instagram. It's totally free. I'm giving a ton of self-care prizes away because it's something I believe in so deeply. So join me. And I'm so happy. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday for the next 4 weeks, talking and unpacking a little bit of self-care here and there. If you have questions or any comments, stick them in the comments below. Super glad you're here. Have a good one. See ya.